right, 7th grade civics scholars, please have out your fill-in-the-blank notes on 2.6 juries and their role in trial. Your scales for 2.6 are to simulate the trial process and the role of juries in the administration of justice. So these notes are going to help you examine the significance of the role of juries in the American legal system, and then also understand the role of juries in the trial process as they administer justice. So what is a jury? A jury is a group of citizens chosen completely at random who are summoned or sent for. They are summoned to court and they're sworn to decide on the facts of the case at a trial. So sworn means to take an oath. Juries occur only in a trial court, both in civil and criminal cases. So juries do not occur in any of the appellate courts, including the Supreme Court. Serving on a jury when summoned is an obligation of being a citizen. There are consequences for not completing this obligation when you are asked. This is an example of a jury summons from a Florida Circuit Court, that is a trial court. And you can see here that it says failure to report for jury duty is a violation of state law and may be punishable by fine and may be held in contempt of court, which is possible jail time. So again, there is a consequence. That's how we know it's an obligation. And in Florida, to be picked for jury duty, if it's a Florida case, you have to be at least 18 years old. You have to be a U.S. citizen. You must be a legal resident of Florida and the county which is hosting the trial. And then also, you must have a driver's license or an ID card that is issued by the Department of Motor Vehicles. If it is a federal court case, then you must be a registered voter. So why is a jury important? In a criminal case, trial by jury places citizens, which are the jury, between the power of the government and the rights of the accused. So the jury is like the buffer. It protects the accused from the government abusing its power. So it's the buffer, it's the middleman. The government cannot take away a person's right to life, liberty, or property until it has convinced those citizens, the jury, of that person's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. So that is due process, and it is the government's job to prove to random people, the jury, that the person on trial for a crime is the only person possibly that could have done it. If it's a civil case, so non-criminal case, the jury represents the community's common sense in resolving disputes. We even made a grievance about jury trials in the Declaration of Independence, where Jefferson wrote for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury. So we have taken trial by jury very seriously in this country since the beginning. And in our U.S. Constitution, there are 2 amendments that deal with juries. So Amendment 6 is the right to have an impartial or unbiased jury if a person is accused of a crime. And then in Amendment 7, suits of common law, those are civil cases, you have a right to a trial by jury if the value that is being sued for is more than $20. So what's the role of a jury in a trial? So in the trial, the jury listens to the evidence that's presented. It decides what facts the evidence has proven, and then it draws inferences or conclusions from those facts to help them make their verdict. And a verdict is their decision. After both lawyers in the trial have finished their case, the jury is going to meet separately. It's in a jury room. And here they are going to discuss the evidence and they're going to decide which side they believe. That whole process is called deliberation. So where they are discussing the evidence and then deliberating, trying to convince each other whose side they believe. The jury then delivers their verdict on whether a defendant is guilty or not guilty if it's a criminal case. If it's a civil case, then the jury decides if the defendant, the person on trial, is liable or not liable. And verdict means to say the truth. So you've already learned about juvenile crime. So juveniles are treated similar but not the same as adults. So in Florida, juveniles do not have their cases heard by a jury. Instead, a judge reviews the evidence and the arguments from both sides, and the judge comes up with the verdict for the case. So in a jury trial for adults, the judge's role is to determine what evidence can be legally presented and considered by the jury in deliberation. So the people in a jury come from all walks of life. So it is not a requirement for anybody on the jury to have gone to law school. The judge, however, has gone to law school, and therefore the judge knows what is allowed to be entered into evidence and what the jury can and cannot consider. The judge also manages the flow of the trial, so deals with objections, knows what objections to overrule or sustain, goes about getting the judge to call the lawyers to call their next witness, so manages the flow. The judge also instructs the jury on the legal rules that they must follow when they are weighing the facts, when they are weighing the evidence during their deliberation. So you'll see sometimes on movies or TV, the judge gives those jury instructions, just reminding them of legally what their parameters are, what they're allowed to consider and what they're not allowed to consider. That is it for our notes on 2.6. We will be using this information for a couple of things in class. I'll see you then.